Good day, everyone. It's me, Kate, and our group for today is going to be discussing about the topics which is copula or the V verbs and the subject verb agreement. So, for today's lesson, here are the learning objectives. So, by the end of this lesson, you will be able to, of course, identify what is copula and subject verb agreement. You're able to identify the common errors in the copula and subject verb agreement. And lastly, you're able to improve your writing in grammar.
So now let's do study about copula. So what is copula? Copula or to be verb connects the subject with other words that describe or explain more about the subject. A copula does not show action but describes the singular subject was or the plural subject were. So as you can see here, copula is like an adjective. It is like an adjective, but it is to be verb that connects the subject with the other words that describe or explain more about the subject. So it is just like another information that describes about the subject. So it doesn't show any action at all, but it only describes the singular subject was or the plural subject were. In linguistics, a copula is a word or phrase that links the subject of a sentence to a subject complement, such as the word is in the sentence, the sky is blue, for example, or the phrase was not being in the sentence, it was not being used. The word copula derives from the Latin noun for a link or tie that connects two different things. So as you can see here in this example, the sky is blue. The copula here, or to be verb, it is the word is. So the sky is connected or was connected to the word blue. So in other words, blue is the subject complement that is connected to the sky, in which the word blue describes the subject sky. A copula is often a verb or a verb-like word, though this is not universally the case. A verb that is a copula is sometimes called as a copulative or copular verb. In English primary education grammar courses, a copula is often called a linking verb. Why is it called as a linking verb? Since copula can be also called as to be verb, so therefore it could be a linking verb. Just like the example of a linking verb is the word is used to connect two phrases together that that can be a subject and the subject complement. In other languages, copulas show more resemblances to pronouns, as in classical Chinese and Guarani, or may take the form of suffixes attached to a noun, as in Korean, Beja, and Inuit languages.
So we already discussed what a scapula is. So here, let us know or have some brief example and things to remember in scapular verb. So example of scapular verb. So we have here the be verb. Am, are, is, was, and where. We also have the seems to be, appear to be, or we have here the seem or the appear. We also have the look or look like, and we also have the sound, the smell, the taste, the feel, and also become and get. So kung tatanungin, why am I dividing them into group? Or am I separating them? Because this our copula is or what we know as linking verb. This linking verb serves different purpose in our sentences. So, so here we have example. in our be verb, we have he is tall. In our in the seems, appear, and look category, we have here that he seems to be a doctor. We also have the flowers smells great. And the later part, we have the sentence she become rich. So we will elaborate it in the next slide. So we have here the basic grammar rule of capital verb. So kung makikita po natin, we have the subject, the linking verb or our copula verb, we have the subject complement. So hindi po natin ginamit ang basic SVO grammar rule. Hindi po siya subject, verb, and object. It is a subject, linking verb, and subject complement. So balik po tayo sa example. So here, for example, we have here that he is tall. So he is our subject. Is, we use is as our linking verb, and tall is used to complement our subject. So sinasabi natin na pag sinabing subject complement, kino-complement natin or parang sino-support natin si subject. So, sino-support natin na he or that man is tall. So, kung gigets natin, let's move on. So, we have here the things to remember in copula verb. So, in copula verb, there are no action involved in copula verb. What they are doing, they join or show the relation of the subject and the subject complement. So, nasabi na siya on earlier part, kay Miss Rogeline, nasabi na siya, hindi tayo gumagamit ng action. There are no action. Kahit na yung pang third part natin here, the sound, the smell, the taste, and feel, it appears to be an action verb. Pero, we're going to use this as our linking verb. Parang iiwasan natin siyang maging action. For example, I sound the bell. Or kumbaga parang pinukpok ko yung bell in Tagalog. I sound the bell. So, we will iiwasan natin gamitin the sound, the smell, the taste, and feel into action. Gagamitin natin siya into we're going to use it as a copula verb. So, dapat take note na dapat iwasan natin na yung third part natin, maiwasan natin maging action verb siya. So, sabi nga natin na ang ating copula verb, we use it to join or to show the relation of the subject and the subject complement. So, sinabi nga natin na sino-support ni subject complement ang ating subject. So, another things to remember, copula verb are not followed by adverb, only adjective or noun complement. So, balik ulit tayo sa example. So, he seems to be a doctor. So, yung doctor natin, hindi siya pwedeng maging adverb. Dapat, yung he seems to be, the next part should not be an adverb. Only an adjective or a noun complement. So, si doctor, ginamit natin siya as a noun complement. So, next. Okay. We have here, dito na natin i-explain bakit natin pinaghiwalay-hiwalay yung mga the be verb, the seems, the sounds or the senses, and the become and get. Dito na natin siya explain. So, the be verb, is, are, was, and were, is stating facts and truthfulness. So, kumbaga pag din-describe natin siya, the complement that we're going to use is factual or parang totoo na siya, alam natin, or we are really aware that they are what they are. Sabihin natin, she is a dancer. We know ourselves that the person we are describing is really a dancer. Hindi tayo ng hula, hindi maybe, but in fact, alam natin na that person we're describing is what she is. Kunyari, we saw someone or we knew someone that is a doctor. Sasabihin natin na he is a doctor. Hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na he seems to be a doctor. Kasi alam na natin na doctor siya. Diba? So next, the linking verb seems, appear, and look. So dito, it shows possibilities. It might be or maybe not. Hindi tayo sure, but maybe ganun nga. Or parang, nagdadalawang isip pa tayo. Or this is what we call the first impression stage. Parang ganun siya. So, she seems to be an artist. So, hindi tayo sure kung artist siya, but our first impression to that person is, she looks like an artist. Or she dressed like an artist, she acts like an artist, or maybe may paint, she has a paint on her face that let us think na artist siya. Or pwede natin masabing, she seems nice. Kumbaga, she smiles at us whenever we encounter. Kumbaga, nakikita natin siya ng ngumingiti. So, that makes us think na maybe that person is a nice person, di ba? So, it shows that this linking verb, the seems, appear, and look, it gives us possibilities. Oh, next. So, di ba, sa example natin, we add the to be and like. So, seems to be, they appear to be, and look like. So, in that, we indicate the subject situation. Or kung ano yung parang kinalalagyan niya ng, pero we also indicate the possibilities and their situation. So, maybe we saw someone na parang may kausap, tapos he looks like in trouble. Maybe he is in trouble, or maybe he's not. But in his situation, or what we see, he looks like in trouble. Kumbaga, the to be and like, it indicates the subject situation or make us think that maybe that person is in that kind of situation. So the seems, appear, and look, and the to be added on the two subject to our two linking verbs and like. It shows possibilities and it might indicate the subject situation. So next. So we have here the sound, taste, smell, and feel. So ito yung sinasabi natin na iiwasan natin siyang gamitin as an action verb. Kasi itong senses na to, we can use it as an action verb. But in here, we're going to use it to describe how certain things affect your senses. So hindi siya yung senses mo talaga yung nagwo-work, but the things that affect your senses. So here we have that it smells nice. So that certain smell or that thing that smells nice, ayun yung nakaka-affect sa'yo. Kunyari you smell flower. Then you said that it smells nice. The flower smells nice. So we're going to use the word smells as our linking verb but not an action verb. Hindi natin siya gagamitin na parang I'm smelling the flower. So we use that sense as an action verb. So kunyari it tastes great. Ginamit natin siya as a linking verb. Hindi natin siya ginamit as an action verb. So next, the copula verb become and get. So while the other linking verb doesn't add ing because they are a state verb, kasi sinabing state, ayun na siya. However, these two verbs just change and could get all the different form. Kasi yung become natin, may becoming, may becoming, yung get natin, may got, may get, may getting. So, madami siyang states or madami siyang form. So, we have here the example, she got married. So, hindi tayo nag-i-state ng action na kinakasal na siya. But we use the got uh, as our linking verb. So, meron din tayo ditong she is getting married. So, may dalawa tayong linking verb but we use the getting married to parang gagamitin natin siya as future tense natin para ma-future tense natin yung isang sentence. Hindi siya kinakasal ngayon. Hindi pa siya kinakasal ngayon. Hindi siya nag-i-state ng action kasi kung sasabihin natin na nag-i-state siya ng action, pwede natin sabihin na she married Bob. Pag sinabi natin ganon, pwede na yung word na married, ayun na yung action verb natin. Kasi yung word married can be an action verb. So that's all for my report. Let's move to the subject-verb.
Subject-verb agreement. So when you hear the term subject-verb agreement, what actually comes to your mind? For me personally, it could be it describes the proper match between the subjects and verb. So in subject verb agreement, what is it? What does it mean? So the subject verb agreement refers to the relationship between the subject and the predicate of the sentence. So subjects and verbs must always agree in two ways: tense and number, whether the subject and verb are singular or plural. So the agreement in speech and in writing refers to the proper grammatical match between words in phrases. So parts of the sentences must agree or correspond with the other parts in number, person, case, and gender. So in number, all parts must in singular or plural forms. In terms of person, all parts must match in first person like I, second person you, or the third person he, she, it, they forms. So in case, all parts must match in subjective like I, you, he, she, it, they, we. When in terms of objective, it's mean me, her, him, them, us. Or in possessive, it could be my, mine, your, yours, his, her, hers, their, theirs, our, ours forms. And gender, it could be all parts must match in male or female forms.
Let us now go to the grammar rules. First basic rule, a singular subject, she, Bill, car, takes a singular verb, is, goes, shines. Whereas a plural subject takes a plural verb. As for example in here, the list of items is, are on the desk. If you know that the list is the subject, then you will choose is for the verb. There is also exceptions to the basic rule, which is A. The first person pronoun I takes a plural verb, like I go or I drive. Next is letter B. The basic form of the verb is used after certain main verbs such as watch, see, hear, feel, help, let, and make. As for example in here, he watched Ronaldo score the winning goal. Now let us go to the first rule. A subject will come before a phrase beginning with of. This is a key rule for understanding subjects. The word of is the culprit in many, perhaps most, subject-verb mistakes. As for example in here, the first is the incorrect. A bouquet of Yellow roses lend color and fragrance to the room. But the correct one is a bouquet of yellow roses lends, which is bouquet lends, not roses lend. Let us now proceed to the second rule, which is two singular subjects connected by or, either or neither, nor require a singular verb. As for example in here, my aunt or my uncle is arriving by train today. Neither Juan nor Carmen is available. Either Kiana or Casey is helping today with stage decorations. Let us now go to the third rule, which is the verb in an or neither nor sentence agrees with the noun or pronoun closest to it. As for example in here, neither the plates nor the serving bowl goes on the shelf. Neither the serving bowl nor the plates go on that shelf. Well, in an awkward way, neither she, my friend, nor I am going to the festival. But there is a better one, which is neither she, I, nor my friend are going to the festival. Now, let us proceed to the part rule, which is, as a general rule, use a plural verb with two or more subjects when they are connected by and. As for example in here, a car and a bike are my means of transportation. But note these exceptions, which are breaking and entering is against the law. The bed and breakfast was charming in those sentences. Breaking and entering bed, breakfast are compound nouns. There's also a note that some think it is incorrect to place a personal pronoun first in a multi-subject sentence. As for example in here, I, my dad, and my stepmom are going to the movies. She and or Bill bought a dog.
Good day everyone, my name is Grant Michael Sisotelo and I will be the one who will continue our discussion for the basic rule of subject-verb agreement. So for the next rule, which is rule number 5, it was composed by two rules. The first rule is sometimes the subject is separated from the verb such words as long with as well as beside, not edge. These words and phrases are not part of the subject. Ignore them and use a singular verb when the subject is singular. So we have here an example. For example, the politician along with the newsman is expected shortly. You can see here we have two nouns, the politician and the newsman. But isa lang dito yung mga consider natin na subject, which is the politician. Since the politician is a singular, therefore we are going to apply a singular verb, and that is, which is a linking verb. So, sabi nga sa rule dito, the subject and the verb was separated by a phrase or words that started with along with as well as or beside or not and etc. So it was separated by along with the newsman. So although the newsman is a noun, we don't consider the newsman as the subject because of this rule. So, yun nga, sinusundan niya yung along with. Kaya hindi natin siya pwedeng ma-consider as the subject. So, we just need to ignore it when applying a subject-verb agreement. So, next example here, we have excitement as well as nervousness is the cause of her shaking. Same sa example number 1. Our noun here is excitement and nervousness, but ang consider lang na subject is excitement. Since excitement is singular, therefore we're going to apply a singular verb which is also a linking verb. So yun nga, it was separated by as well as nervousness. Since although nervousness is a noun, sinusundan niya is yung group of word of as well as. So next rule for rule number 5 we have here, parentheses are not part of the subject. Same goes for rule 1 of rule number 5, which is meron tayo ditong i-ignore. So for example, this one, Joe and his trusty mouth was always welcome. So yung mga words sa loob ng parentheses is we just need to ignore it when applying a subject-verb agreement. So Joe is our subject, which is a singular. Therefore, our verb is also a singular, which is was. So yeah, you just need to ignore the words inside the parentheses. Next rule, which is rule number 6, sabi dito, in the sentence, beginning here or there, the two subjects follows the verb. So kung a sentence is started with here or there, then kasunod nito is the verb, then followed by the subject. So ang mangyayari is mauuna si verb bago si subject. So for example, there are 4 hurdles to jump. At you can see, ang sentence is nauna sa there. Therefore, ang kasunod nito is the verb followed by the subject. At you can see the subject here is plural. Therefore, we are going to use a plural verb, which is are. Next example is, there is a high hurdle to jump. So, nauna si there, followed by is, which is the verb, then the subject. The subject is singular, therefore we are going to use a singular verb, which is. Next example, here are the keys. Same rule apply. The sentence start with here, followed by the verb, and then the subject. The subject here is plural, therefore we are going to apply a plural verb. Next rule, which is rule number 7. Use a singular verb with distance period of time, sum of money each when considered as a unit. So, yun nga. If, so, according sa example, 3 miles is too far to walk. So, sa example dito, 3 miles is the subject, and the verb is, which is the linking verb is, and too far is considered as a unit of measurement. Although the subject is a plural, because of the word too far, which is considered as a unit, then therefore the verb we are going to use is singular, even if the subject is plural. So next example, 5 years is the maximum sentence for that offense. So 5 years is the subject, which is plural, but we are going to use a singular verb because of the word the maximum sentence, which is considered as a unit. Next example, which is $10, is a high price to pay. $10 is a plural, but we're going to use a singular verb because of the word a high price, which is considered as a unit. So, unlike in this example, $10, which is dollar bills, were scattered on the floor. $10 is a plural, but we're going to use a plural verb since scattered is not considered as a unit, since it is describing that the $10 were scattered on the floor. Now, let's discuss the next rule, which is rule number 8. In rule number 8, we have two rules. The first rule is with the words that indicate portion. Example, a lot, a majority, some, all. Rule number 1 given earlier in this session is reversed, and we are guided by the noun after of. If the noun after of is a singular, then use a singular verb. If a plural, use a plural verb. Unlike sa rule number 1, di ba? Kapag ang ay noun is after of, if the noun is singular, then we are going to use a plural verb, and if the noun is plural, then we are going to use a singular verb. That is the rule number 1. But here in rule number 8, the first rule of rule number 8 is kabaliktaran. So sa rule number 8, for the example for rule number 8, we have here, a lot of pie has disappeared. So because of the word a lot, which indicate a person, and even though the subject, which is the pie, is after of, we are going to use a singular verb, which is has. The pie is a singular subject. Then the subject is singular, then the verb is also singular. Next example is a lot of pies have disappeared. The first example, because of the word a lot, which indicate portion, and even though the subject is plural, and after of, we are going to use a plural verb. So, kabaliktaran nga siya ng rule number 1 because of the words that indicate person, which is a lot. So, the second rule of rule number 8, with collective nouns such as a group, jury, family, audience, population, the verb might be singular or plural depend on the writer's intent. So, yun nga. Example, all of my family has arrived or have arrived. So, it depends of the writer intents kung gagamit pa siya ng plural or singular verb because of the collective nouns or collective nouns such as group, jury, family, audience, and population. So, because of the word all, it indicates that uh, it uh, it it indicates that pwede siyang isang member lang makonsider siya as isang member lang, sisabing all, di ba? Or more than two. It depends kung marami pa siyang family or isa lang yung family niya. Depende. So, the subject here is the family. So, yan yung pagpapapilian ng verb. Next example is, yan. So, because of the word most, and the collective nouns, which is the jury, which is considered as it's either plural or singular, hindi siya ma-determine kung plural ba siya or singular. So, it depends yun parang sa writer's intent kung gagamit pa siya ng singular verb or a plural verb. Next example is a third of the population has not in favor or were not in favor. So, because of the word a third, and then the collective noun as the population, it depends to the writer's intent if he or she were going to use a singular verb or a plural verb. So next, last rule, which is rule number 9, we have here the word where a place was in sentences that express a wish or rare contrary to the fact. So if yung sentences ba is nag-determine or nag-express siya ng a wish, request, or concern to the fact, like this example. If Joe were here, you'd be sorry. So, because of the word, the subject here is Joe, and the verb is were. Because of the word if, the subject, which is Joe, is a singular, right? Then, because of the word if, we're going to use a plural verb because of the because of this rule. So, yeah. Another example, I wish it were Friday. So, our subject here is it. Then our verb is were, and because of the word I wish, we are going to use a plural verb even if the subject is singular. So another example, she requested that he raise his hand. Because of this rule, even though that he is singular, we were going to use a plural verb even though the subject is singular because of the word she requested. So that's it. Thank you for your time. See you next time.